Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We've got some good Cleveland news and some not so great Cleveland news, and we can start with the high note. I don't know. As you can see by the beanie, I'm kind of riding the high from our Guardians this weekend.
I got the jacket, I got the shirt, I got the hat. Nick, we're in the playoffs, playing the Yankees. Bring them on.
I know, Chris, we got our wish, man. To be the best, you have to beat the best. And that all begins this week in the championship series against the Yankees. It was a fun 5 games against the Tigers, a division rival. The Guards did what they needed to do in that series. But if you want to go to the World Series in this American League, all roads lead through New York. And I think the Guardians are going to be up for the task, guys.
I started to really think about them and the way that they were playing so poised and so gritty. And I was like, dang, this is a team that, they look like they won it. They look like they could advance. They look like they could beat us. And so to have us really grind it out to come out on top with these big performances from Lane Thomas, David Fry being the absolute person that we need. Even Stephen Kwan has stepped up crazy. I think he just tied Kenny Lofton for his 10 straight hits or postseason hits dating back to 2022. But yeah, he bat like 524 over the course of the ALDS, and so he was another clutch guy. But so many people stepped up, and it was great to see unfold at Progressive Field.
Absolutely.
And we saw the long ball. We saw the small ball with David Fry with the bunts. We saw a signature moment there with Lane Thomas hitting the grand slam. I mean, that's one we're going to be talking about for generations here in Cleveland. That was an amazing moment. It's so much fun to have stuff like that happens at home in front of our home crowd. The people were just up and electric there. You were there, Gab. I'm sure the feel was just unbelievable.
I think that this might be just under Rajay Davis's, in terms of volume in the ballpark. The place went absolutely nuts for Lane Thomas's grand slam. I mean, obviously the stakes are higher in the World Series, but I do feel like that was the loudest I've heard the ballpark since Rajay's 2-run bomb, bottom of the 8th, Game 7 World Series 2016.
And we talk about vibes all the time, and it was so nice to see Donovan Mitchell out there. The Cavs players were out there supporting. We love it. The great pictures with you out there that the team account was sending out. So we had all of Cleveland supporting this team, and it's just good to have a nice story like that. Not only a nice story, but, hey, we got to finish this thing off. We're playing New York, and this is not house money. I've said house money with the Cavs before. I've said house money with the Browns before. This Guardians team in baseball, anybody can win this thing. We saw it last year. We see it year in, year out in Major League Baseball. Why not us this year? It starts with the Yankees. Let's take them down. Let's make it to the series.
I'm so serious. If we beat the Yankees, I might get a tattoo.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know of what. Maybe we leave it to the fans, but if we beat the Yankees, I will get a tattoo.
I say we leave it to the fans.
Yeah, leave it to the fans, because I've never wanted something more. Could you just imagine us ending the series and it's Josh Naylor at the plate?
And you don't have any tattoos presently.
I don't.
First one's going to be a Guardians
This is going to be the one.
All right. You heard it here first.
I want Joshy to be rocking the baby and just freaking.
We're getting somebody to do it in here on the show.
Yeah, live of my first tat. And you
There
can
you
tell
go.
me where to go, but nothing face or neck or anything like that. Just
Cleveland area tattoo companies, call us.
Yeah.
We've
give
got
us
a job
ring.
for you here in the next
On
week.
the table.
I love it. All right, we got a packed show today, guys. We're going to talk way more Guards, and obviously got to get to some Browns, too, later in the show. But our analyst joins us for his first segment, Jameis Winston, and his first stop on Jameis's food tours. We've got the video ready for you. Let's go out to Jameis, live from Crew Uncorked.
Today we're heading to Crew Uncorked in Moreland Hills, Ohio, with NFL star Jameis Winston and his wife Bree. Get ready to dive into some French cuisine with Jameis. Will they conquer the menu, or will the dishes have them stumped?
This is a little different.
Soup du jour. That's a French staple, right? Like every French restaurant's got.
I don't know what that is.
Soup. That's soup of the day.
You sure?
Soup of the day. Soup du jour. I am a big starter person. My funniest appetizer stories. I was going to a place to eat with Tavon Arrington, my life coach, and his dad said, "What they got for advertisement?" I said, "What? What they got for advertisement?" I was like, "Advertisement," and it just gave us the giggles. Like, Come on, man.
Foie gras. What is foie gras?
Foie gras is like, it's a fancy version of deviled eggs. Right? Because like deviled eggs have the little soft stuff.
I don't know.
It's basic potato salad, but
I'll fact check you.
poulet.
I know you don't know that one.
Poulet. Yes, I do know what a poulet is. It is essentially like grits.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. That is
Poulet. I see it right here. It's a mascarpone corn polenta.
You saw polenta.
And it's like grits. Poulet.
Polenta is like grits.
That's what I'm saying.
But
So
poulet has got to be like a fish or a protein, a meat.
here we are at Crew Uncorked for our amazing food review. Let's go check it out. Hello. How are you? Table for Winston?
All right, wonderful. So the table is going to be ready in just a few minutes.
Okay. Are these complimentary?
Oh, yes.
I'm about to go chill with my buddy. What's going on, man? That's a little tip for you. I'm sorry. Sorry, that's a taster. Mr. Jeeves, were you the originator of Axe Jeeves? Mr. Jeeves, if you were the originator of Axe Jeeves, why don't you respond to my questions? You have a dog that likes to do tricks because you seem to have the same mannerism of a dog after they do a nice trick. Mr. Jeeves, do you spell your name with a J or a G? You are a G, huh? Mr. Jeeves, Mr. Jeeves, Mr. Jeeves. I'll talk to you later, or not, okay? Have a good one.
Well, good evening.
How you doing?
How are you tonight?
What's up? How are
Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Crew.
What is soup du jour?
Soup du jour today is a wild mushroom bisque.
So it means soup of the day.
What does the
Correct.
soup do? Okay,
Yeah, soup
thank
of the
you.
day. Correct.
Thank you
All right.
so much.
Every-
Soup du
I
jour.
don't know what that is.
Soup, the soup of the day. So, Al, we're not drinking, but we are very interested in mocktails.
Of course.
So I would love to talk to your bartender.
It will be my pleasure. I'll be right back.
All right, thank you, Al.
Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you too,
John.
John. You know what we're looking for, John? She's looking for something gingerberry, something cherry, and I'm looking for something that's like lavender.
Lavender.
We are depending on you to come up with something that would make us say, "Not so fast, my friend."
Absolutely.
Oh,
All right, John.
I'll do my best.
You will.
All right, so I brought us a couple options here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is our main menu.
Al, one question.
Yes, sir.
What hip hop artist had a famous escargot quote in his rhyme, in one of his raps?
It's not P. Diddy, is it?
Is who?
P. Diddy?
No.
P. Diddy probably produced it.
But it's not P. Diddy. Give the man his credit who said the lyrics. May he rest in peace.
No Diddy. He passed.
He passed.
Yes.
It's not too far.
He was big.
One more.
Biggie Small?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go, Al. Yes.
There you
The
go.
third time's the charm.
As far as the entrees go, halibut is our staple dish, flown from Alaska. Chicken, the poulet roulade, we use very nice technique. We take one chicken breast.
Chicken.
Correct.
Poulet has got to be like a protein, a meat. Poulet.
You
Poulet
said
is
that.
chicken, roulade means rolled. Take one single breast, remove the skin, roll it like a cylinder, then put the skin back on. So when you cook it, the skin gets crispy, but all the juices stay inside of the chicken. Trout is clear water from Idaho. Hokkaido scallops from Japan. Tunisian rack lamb. Big bloodline, no preservatives, grass fat. 3-bone rack, recommended medium, and see a little bit of salt and pepper. This is a little different. This is in the form of a mousse. It freaks out people. It's so delicate it melts in your mouth.
Up to us foie gras. Like what? How can we describe foie gras to our kids?
Foie gras is a goose liver.
The goose liver.
Goose liver.
Okay.
They actually really overfeed the geese to get the liver a little bigger. It's a delicacy. It's been around forever.
I was told it was deviled eggs.
Foie gras is like deviled eggs. It's like deviled eggs.
Okay.
Like in terms of the texture that it comes.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's like goose deviled eggs. Like goose eggs.
It's not. It's liver. You can't get, you got soup du jour. You can't have foie gras.
I mean, who would have guessed that foie gras was goose liver?
I thought it was cheese.
It's not really appealing to the eye because it's brown.
Yeah, but it's normally really good.
It's really good.
I don't think I've ever had mushroom soup.
Like cream of mushroom.
I put this on
You use it all the time.
turkey neck.
This is good. This is definitely a 7 out of 10.
I like it. I give it an 8.
Thank you.
Beautifully plated.
So obviously the octopus on each side of the table. In the very middle of the plate is going to...
Are you gonna let me take some of yours?
No. Yeah, you'll like it.
I'm actually okay. I'm okay with what I got going on over here.
I know, but I want to taste
I really want you to. And the octopus is cooked.
No.
Perfect. 10 out of 10.
This hash brown is seasoned really good.
How do you know?
I smell it when I cut it.
I gave you a good bite with the flour. That is delicious.
Listen, I taste some jalapeno. It tastes like some Popeye chicken.
Excuse us. Filet roll out for the lady, and then lamb for the gentleman.
Yum.
So obviously the chicken as we described.
It's a play on a classic dish. As a girl who grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, you have your grits. That was a staple for us. You can have it for breakfast and dinner.
Right.
Have, chicken. Everyone likes chicken.
Chicken.
And then you have some gravy on the side, so it's giving you everything.
I'm rarely gonna go to a restaurant and get chicken.
Well, listen, the only reason I got it, because I had never heard.
A poulet.
I'm sure that's chicken
sure,
in French.
But I gotta think about like poulet, el pollo. You know what I'm saying?
Poultry.
It makes sense. Yes, it does.
We
Make
should have
sense.
put 2 and 2 together.
But you said chicken.
I'm not disappointed in my decision. I could have stepped out of the box a little bit more.
When he described it as the chicken that's wrapped in its own skin, I was like, okay. I was like, I ain't never seen no chicken not wrapped in its own skin.
Motion to Chef Sam.
How you doing, sir?
How you doing, Chef?
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, too. Thank you so much, Sam. It's my wife, Breon.
How you doing, Chef? Thank you.
Meet you.
Food's
Yeah,
great.
how was everything tonight?
Amazing.
Good.
It's just the
Your guys' first
beginning.
time here?
Yes, it's our first time here.
Perfect.
I'm an athlete. She was an athlete. Like when we practice and we do our work, like we have a game day and people are able to see us play.
Oh, yeah.
But like every night that you create meals, it's your game day. So like you're in
every
your
day's a Super Bowl.
every day is a Super Bowl
Yeah.
because every meal has to be the best.
Yeah.
So Chef, can we see the kitchen? Like what's your rules about the
Oh
kitchen?
yeah, absolutely. They're cleaning up right now, but yeah, after you guys get finished up, you guys can get a full tour of everything.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. So much fun with Jameis Winston. How cool is it to be going around, Nick, and helping him do this?
It's been cool. Obviously, he's such a big personality, and the food tour continues. So we're going to try to line these up with every single Browns home game. We'll see. We will see. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chris, it's time for some fill in the blank. We got to talk about some Browns. Not feeling too great this morning, but I know you're feeling pretty good over there, my
That's
man.
right. Thanks to my friends at Affinity Whole Health, I am in the best shape of my life at 45 years old. It's kind of amazing. I started this journey a couple of months ago, was really skeptical over what this would look like and what my health would look like a couple of months into giving it a try, and I have been just blown away. I tell you, my energy is much higher than it's ever been. I feel like every day when I wake up that I'm kind of jumping out of bed, despite what the Cleveland Browns might give us to jump out of bed for. And with everything we've got going in the fall, you got Guardians playoffs, you've got the Browns, you got the kids and all their school activities. It's just great to be able to keep up with them. Affinity Whole Health has allowed me to do that. They've got great locations down in Columbus by me. They've got locations up here in Cleveland. Check them out, AffinityWholeHealth.com, AffinityWholeHealth.com.
All right, Chris McNeil. You're feeling great, and I will say he also happens to be a big Mountain Dew guy. So just throwing that out there. Now I'm copying you today, so it's pretty stunning that at 45 you're in such great health and a little bit of Mountain Dew to add to that.
That's right. Keeps me going.
Have you got the big guy guns today?
Between Affinity Whole Health and Mountain Dew, those are my two secrets.
All right, guys, fill in the blank. I am blank about the Browns right now.
I'm pretty livid about the Browns right now. I know a lot of people are apathetic, but I'm pretty livid. Right now, we're looking at two divisional foes that are coming into Cleveland. You've got the Bengals this week. You've got the Ravens the following week. This week, I'm bringing my girlfriend to the game. I think she might dump me after what the Browns are going to do. The following week, I'm bringing my kids to see the Ravens. I think that I may have Child Protective Services after me after that game. It's ugly right now. It's not going to get any better anytime soon with Deshaun Watson continuing to be rolled out there. We saw Mitchell Schwartz. Did you see this tweet from Mitchell Schwartz saying that it's really letting down all of the players in that entire locker room to run Deshaun Watson out there right now? I'm not placing all the blame on Deshaun Watson, but certainly it would be a great signal to that entire locker room if you go, you make the change at quarterback, put in Jameis Winston, bring him off of doing our food reviews, and bring him into the huddle.
You know, I wish, guys, that I could say that I didn't care. I wish I could say at least we have the guards. But like Chris said, I do care. And I care because Chops and all these morons in the media all year long told us that this was the year. They told us, you know, the suspension happened, whatever. That was a lost season. Then last year, we go on this magic carpet ride with Joe Flacco, PJ Walker, and 5 different starting quarterbacks. All the chips were supposed to be pushed to the center of the table for this season, and it hasn't happened. And you said it, Chris, Deshaun Watson, it's not all on him, but he's holding the team back. And a piece of me now wonders, did they arrive at the Greenbrier when the vibes were all high and everyone was singing their praises? And maybe they saw, this guy's cooked. Maybe they saw, this guy gives us not the best chance to win, but the best chance to tank, the best chance to go get Shedeur Sanders, the best chance at Quinn Ewers. That's the only reason left in my mind that they keep trotting Deshaun Watson out there. Is it's no longer about winning football games on Sunday. It's about positioning themselves for the future, because that's really all we have left to look at and talk about as it pertains to this season. Season's over.
Ooh, he's hot. You've had some Mountain Dew this morning too, I can see. All right, Deshaun's second half performance though, guys, that was
like in a round of golf. In a round of golf,
11 for 12, 122 yards.
So round of golf, right? You shoot like a 55 on the front, and then you go on the back 9 and have a good back 9. That's basically what he did. He shot 101, but he had a good back 9. That's all well and good. We need a complete game before I start throwing any praise his way. He had like one good throw, I thought, on third down that I thought was an NFL level type of throw. A lot of that was dink and dunk. Ultimately, we weren't getting in the end zone. It wasn't happening. We made a lot of mistakes that aren't on Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson himself, I'm not that encouraged by that second half.
Yeah, I mean, the second half was the offense scored 9 points in the entire game. The guy that has the most touchdowns on the team right now is a 35-year-old backup safety.
Yes.
That's the state of Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns right now. He go play the second half, Deshaun. I don't care.
Mary Kay Cabot reported that Nick Chubb is expected to play. How about Nick Chubb returning this week? That would be...
I feel bad for him because the offense is going to get booed. They're going to introduce the starting lineup, and the offense is legitimately going to get booed. I mean, Nick Chubb, there will be some cheers, and you hope that he could provide a spark. I thought Pierre Strong Jr. provided a spark out of the backfield on Sunday. But it's disappointing and it's disheartening that Chubb comes back in what's already a lost season. You're looking at the lifespan of careers. Myles Garrett does heroic things every single week. He jumped over the line of scrimmage again and blocked a field goal, and you still lose that game. You have Joel Bitonio, who's arguably a Hall of Famer, and you're wasting his career. I feel kind of the same way about Nick Chubb. I'm glad for him that he's able to come back. That freak injury on that night in Pittsburgh, we'll never forget, where a lot of us were wondering if Chubb will ever play football again. It'll be great to have him back. I just wish it was under better circumstances.
Yeah, they're going to run him out there like a meat shield for Deshaun right now, because the fans are going to be booing Deshaun as soon as he runs out, and then you introduce Nick Chubb after that, and then it changes the entire flow. But yeah, I hate to have him run behind this line right now. I hate to have him run for this team right now, because as Mitchell Schwartz said, this team is not going anywhere under Deshaun Watson, and it's going to be great to have Nick Chubb back, but I just wish it was under better circumstances.
And I would caution people as well. We keep saying it. I wouldn't even really expect him to get 10 carries on Sunday. It's going to be a very dialed back workload.
All right, the Bengals are 2-4. Cleveland's won 9 of the last 12 matchups with Cincinnati. I don't know if this does anything for you. Joe Burrow is 1-5 versus Cleveland. So that final score of this Browns-Bengals game at home is going to be...
God, I barely care anymore on these final scores, right? We can't get in the end zone, so I'm going to give us 9 points, 3 field goals, and somehow we hold the Bengals to just a touchdown. Browns win 9-7. An ugly one. An ugly game, Nick.
Yeah, that's AFC North football written all over it, man. And if there's one thing that Browns fans could, I guess, find a little bit of levity in, it's the fact that the Bengals are just as bad, if not even, they're not worse than the Browns, but they're really bad.
I was like,
they're really bad. I mean, that game against the Giants on Sunday Night Football was not good.
Yeah,
I agree with Chris. This will take the under here probably. I think the Browns could get a win. It's in Cleveland. I got the Browns winning 10-7. Maybe they find the end zone with Nick Chubb once.
9-7 and 10-7.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a barn burner.
Whew. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland show right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland show. We've got a special guest in studio. It is our Garage Beer featured interview, and we welcome on senior NBA writer for Hoops Wire, Sam Amico, and longtime friend.
Friend of show.
Friend of
Big
show.
Play, friend of all of us.
Friend in general.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't have many friends, so if
He paid me to say that we're all friends.
Right, yeah. You'll get your lunch later, guys. I appreciate that. So thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I've come on, obviously, via phone, but never really in the studio before, so it's a cool experience.
Yeah, great having you in here. I think all of us are excited about Cavs season. Yeah. Obviously, we've got the guards to be optimistic about, but next up, right around the corner, sneaks up on you every year, is the Cavs, and obviously the big news from the offseason was the addition of Kenny Atkinson. I think fans out there want to know, what can we expect out of Kenny Atkinson in his first season with this bunch?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm always happy to veer the conversation away from the Browns, so you can thank me for that. Maybe you guys owe me lunch. But, as far as Kenny Atkinson goes, I think that we saw that in the first preseason game. Now, granted, it was a preseason game, but you had all 5 of your starters, and the ball was moving, people were moving, and he, the whole reason he got the job, it seems like, is take Evan Mobley to another level. And, we saw the very first play of the preseason, they got Evan Mobley the ball, the play was run for him, and he delivered. So I think there's a lot there in terms of, yes, it's the same core and really the same top 9, 10 guys, but it's going to look different theoretically. And it already looked different in that first preseason game. So, in the NBA, you think you got to get the star players, which you do, but a coach who can bring out the best in those players, supposedly could take them to another level. That's the whole idea behind this. And I think that, what we've seen so far in camp and the preseason, he's done what he's expected to have done.
Cool. How do you think this Cavs team will stack up against other top teams in the East?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question because, You're talking the Boston Celtics are defending champs. And interestingly, Boston and the Cavs are the only two teams in the East who did not sign an outside free agent to a standard contract or make any kind of trade. There's one more team that falls in that category, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers, who just wanted to add Bronny James, it seems like, and do nothing else to a team that barely got into the playoffs. But as far as the Cavs go, you've got Boston, Philadelphia on paper, adding Paul George and Caleb Martin and some of these other veteran-type players. The Knicks obviously went out and got Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. So, I mean, right there, you're talking about, okay, those are the three teams that everybody's chasing, supposedly. Cavs have finished fourth in the Eastern Conference each of the last 2 seasons. So I don't think that if you don't finish in the top 3 in the East is a big deal, or even in the top 4. But after those top 3 that I just listed, I think anybody is really in play for 4 when you talk about Milwaukee Bucks. The Indiana Pacers went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Never could count out the Miami Heat. So there's 7 teams already, and it's just going to be tight. Oh, and the Orlando Magic, throw them in there. They gave the Cavs everything they could handle in the first round. So, I mean, there's 8 teams that I think are in the mix for the top 3 spots. And I think the Cavs are definitely right there. Interestingly, like a few, ESPN had the Cavs finishing 2nd in the East, right behind Boston with 50 wins. And I think 50 wins this year will get you 2nd in the East. So, as we've seen, so much of it depends on, number one, health. Who's healthy? Are your star players healthy when it means the most? And number 2, Kenny Atkinson's talked about this a lot. There's going to be a time this year, he has said, when we're terrible. Because it's an 82-game season, it's going to happen to everybody, and there's going to be a big bump in the road, and there's going to be, that stretch where you lose 4 out of 6 or something. Who overcomes that the best and gets to the other side of that the best? That has been his message all of camp, predicting doom. And it's like, he's right. You do hit that part of the season where you start losing a lot of games. How do you come through that? And that is a big deal, because they haven't come through that very well the past 2 years.
It's kind of a unique approach. Normally you see coaches be overly positive, especially in the preseason. Yeah. What do you think predicates that? Where does he come from with that kind of a message to the team?
Yeah, I think that's, just being an NBA head coach before, having been in this league a long time, and an assistant with the Golden State Warriors, that won the championship in 2022. He was an assistant there under Steve Kerr. So I think that's been a big part of, I'm not trying to rip on anybody here, but when John Beilein came to the Cavs, it was rah, 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 go, 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 yippee, and it was a very college approach.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody like Kenny Atkinson, look, he's lived through how many NBA seasons that are 82 games. That Warriors team that won in 2022 was not like the other Warriors dynasty teams. This was a team that really struggled. Klay Thompson was on his last legs, kind of, or at least coming off an injury. Jordan Poole was your main number 2 guard. So they experienced their bumps in the road. So I think a little bit of that's where he's coming from. Like, look, I've been around long enough to know we're not going 82-0. We're probably not going, 73-9. Probably going to lose 20, 25 games in that vicinity. He hasn't said that, but that's the reality of it. And, you do hit those tough stretches where Jared Allen or Donovan Mitchell or somebody, heaven forbid, goes down for a little stretch. How do you get through that? So I think that's really just, to me, it's really just an NBA coach who knows what he's talking about, being honest and open. So I will say Kenny, having covered every coach now since 2007, he comes with an edge. He has a little bit of an edge to him, very friendly, but you could tell, Karis LeVert and Jared Allen, who played for him before in Brooklyn, have said, oh yeah, there's going to be times he's going to let us know when we're messing up, whereas maybe previous regime did not do that as much.
Yeah, and that feels needed. You
It
know,
really
after what we saw at the end of last year, and they got through that Orlando series, but it was turbulent to say the least. It definitely feels like that's needed. You also mentioned health is going to play a big factor, as it does every year. It was interesting to me. Donovan Mitchell said that if healthy, this Cavs team can win an NBA title. Do you believe that that's the case? There's some juggernauts in this league, but Donovan put it out there that he thinks the Cavs should be in that championship conversation this year.
Yeah, and I do, and usually I'm one of the people that would be like, well, no, they're not ready. I've always look at them with a critical eye. Put it this way: they could lose in the first round of the playoffs, and they could win the title, and neither would surprise me. I think, and that's not really just because of them, but it's because of the whole NBA. Really, there's a lot of parity. The NBA now is almost like the NFL, where you have 4, 5, 6 guys who are in the mix, but it's really anybody's ball game. And to me, the Denver Nuggets of 2 years ago winning the title, kind of where the Cavs are today. Yeah. It's kind of because they're very familiar with each other. They've got a good coach, I believe, and there is some benefit to not adding anybody, a big name, and breaking things up. To me, when I first saw them the first 5 minutes of the preseason, they just look so comfortable together, which is, if you're adding a Paul George or a Karl Anthony Towns, that's great, and that's a big splashy move. But we've seen this a million times in the NBA. Do the pieces fit? Are they comfortable together? Do they complement each other on the court? And I thought those first 5 minutes of the preseason against the Bulls, when I saw the Cavs starters, I was just like, these guys look like they've been at this 100 years. And you know what? The Denver Nuggets, this is where the NBA has been so great lately, I think, because you look at the last 6 years and you think about the Denver Nuggets. Nobody predicted that Denver Nuggets team was going to win the championship even 2 weeks before the finals. 2 weeks before the finals, nobody said, yeah, it's going to be Denver and Miami. Everybody would say, you're nuts. So I think that that's really the way the new collective bargaining agreement is set up. The NBA wants parity. They love it, and they have it right now. So I think that opens the door for teams like Cleveland and Indiana last year that went to the Eastern Conference Finals a year after not making the playoffs. The Dallas Mavericks going to the finals a year after not making the playoffs. So I think that really levels the playing field, so to speak. So what could have just been a yes answer, I took 5 minutes, which is what I do well. But it really is yes. I think that they have a shot to really get to the finals. Granted, I would say that about 6 teams in the East, but I think they're in that mix.
So we already touched on the fact that they didn't really add much in the offseason outside of head coach. Is there anybody on this roster who fans might not know a whole lot about right now that may emerge over the course of this season that you look to take bigger roles on this team?
Yeah, I think the obvious name is probably Ty Jerome, a guy who played a game and a half last year as a backup point guard, and had some kind of mysterious foot injury that required surgery. We're really not sure what it was, but he's really the guy that they're really pushing to try to run the offense when Darius or Donovan aren't in there. Mm-hmm. So that would, to me, be the main sleeper guy. He's had struggles shooting the ball in camp, but, Kenny Atkinson has said that's not to be unexpected after missing a year with a foot injury where he couldn't even be on the court. So he'd be my pick. He'd be the one guy that you would think, yeah, he could probably, because you know what? We pretty much know everybody else, right? And he's the one guy that I think is really the ringer because he can play both guard spots, got good size, can shoot, and can run the offense. So he'd be a guy that everybody's either really going to love or get really frustrated with. I'll tell you that.
Sam, appreciate you popping in here, man. Always good to talk some Cavs. And this is we got to keep this going. We got to have some Cavs talk throughout the year on the show because We're going to need it. We're going to need it through this winter for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm always happy to come up here, and as you can see, there's no shortage of my ability to talk. I'll still be talking after I leave here to nobody about the Cavs.
He's a wordsmith. Catch him at Hoops Wire.
Yeah,
we appreciate you.
On social, Amico Hoops, one of the best, been covering the Cavs for a very long time. Appreciate you, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
For sure. All righty, guys. More of the Big Play Cleveland Show right after this. Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time to talk some guards with our guy Jensen Lewis, and it's all brought to you guys by our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. We've been bringing the heat with Jensen Lewis all baseball season long. We've taken over Lakewood and Lakewood Truck Park for bringing the heat, and there's nothing better than a long day out, a long day of playoff baseball, going back to my house, going back to my outdoor patio, getting some burgers on the grill, and the patio furniture just waiting for me, my throne from Northeast Factory Direct. It's been an awesome way to relax this fall out on the back patio, but they have your entire house covered, guys, with kitchen cabinets, bedroom sets, dining room tables, hot tubs, sofas, so much more. You can shop online anytime by going to northeastfactorydirect.com, but you gotta visit them in store. Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. It's a unique furniture buying experience unlike anywhere else. Make sure to ask about that big play bonus for an extra special hookup. You're going to be glad that you did. We welcome on in Jensen Lewis to bring in the heat. Jensen, before we get to the Yankees series, we got to talk about some of the heroes of the ALDS. That Lane Thomas trade is just looking beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Nick, and not to build the statue already, or at least have the blueprints drawn up, but if he continues this run, man alive, is he going to be unable to purchase a drink or buy a dinner for himself in this town for quite some time? From the first swing and really the first pitch that he saw in his postseason career there in Game 1, the 3-run homer, to the first pitch he saw against Tarek Skubal for what now is only the fourth go-ahead grand slam in postseason history. It's been quite the ride. The beginning of his Guardians tenure, the first 3 weeks was very difficult. A lot of people kind of second-guessing this front office, saying you didn't do enough for the deadline. Not only just bringing him in, maybe we needed at least another guy in there to help lengthen the lineup. But as we've talked about a lot on the pregame shows before the division series, he finished great in September. He has made his mark not only in this division series, but it's going to have to be a pivotal bat if the Guardians are to reach the World Series.
And he's not the only hero of this ALDS. We got to talk about David Fry coming in the clutch. Also, Stephen Kwan. We can't let this go by. He bat .524 over the course of the ALDS. Tied Kenny Lofton for most postseason hit streak because he racked up 10 in a row dating back to 2022. Absolutely brought his A game. So many of the guys, even Brian Rocchio. Isn't it kind of cool to see his confidence on display? His season was kind of but you can tell that he's really turning it on. I'm excited for all these guys.
Yeah, and Gab, I was telling you and the guys throughout that division series, I really had a strong feeling about Brian Rocchio, and even though he might have been a bit hidden down at the bottom of the lineup, you couldn't take him for granted as an opposing pitcher, and he made his mark not only offensively but defensively. A couple of sparkling plays in the field to keep runs from scoring. And then you talk about David Fry, and we saw it a bit last year, guys, where he had the flair for the dramatic. He comes up with one of the biggest homers of this postseason, the go-ahead variety there in Game 4, and then the safety squeeze to get that much-needed insurance run for Emmanuel Clase to finish it out. Just finds a real calmness in not only his tempo, but it doesn't feel like he tries to do too much up there, guys, at the plate. You love his versatility, of course, all over the field, but him being in that top of the order, particularly against left-handed pitching, has been a difference maker so far for Stephen Vogt.
All right, Jensen, it's been about a month and a half since the Guardians have faced the Yankees. What should fans expect out of this series?
Yeah, when you look at where the Yankees came off their series against the Royals, 15 2/3, not allowing an earned run by their bullpen. That's the number that jumps way out to me because it was a huge question mark for them at the end of August. You couldn't pick 3 names out of a hat to get 9 outs to close out a game for them up to that point. But Luke Weaver has really been the stabilizing force in that closing role. Clay Holmes has gotten back to his dominant self, and Tommy Kahnle has been the guy in the 7th inning and been able to collect some outs to bridge from the starter to those dynamic back two guys. So I think that's where you look at it from the pitching side. We all know about Garrett Cole. His success against Cleveland is well documented. So you have a sense of urgency, at least in these first couple of games, to try and split New York. But also remember this, guys, the Guardians have hit really well against left-handed pitching all year and even into this postseason. So with Carlos Rodon in game 1 and then potentially again in game 5, you're going to get 2 cracks at him. And, hey, it'd be great to sweep the Yankees. Don't think that's happening. But I think ultimately they set up pretty well and will ultimately need to match the offense of what we think will come out of Juan Soto and Aaron Judge.
Jensen, we also talked about atmosphere and how that plays a role, especially in our pregame live stream that you can catch at Lakewood Truck Park. And you guys will be live streaming, right, for all of our
every
games?
ALCS game, yeah.
Yes, so you can catch us there. But that atmosphere, how tough do you think it's going to be playing in Yankee Stadium with a playoff atmosphere?
I think it's Cleveland against the world in every sense, guys. And I think that gets personified even more in this ALCS. Make no mistake about it. This Guards ball team will not receive any benefit of the doubt. They're going to have to earn it every little spot, every big inflection point. If you see an expanding strike zone for our hitters, if you see one that gets a bit tight in late game situations for our relievers, don't be surprised. Hate to say it, but that's probably what's going to transpire. So I think they're ready to meet the moment. And I think really everyone, including Alex Rodriguez and including Derek Jeter, who had said, hey, it looks like if the Yankees could handpick their road to the World Series, they'd want the AL Central opponents. Well, be careful what you ask for. And I think that's where this team will really unite and say, it's just another day where someone's doubting this team. We believe in ourselves. Can't wait to see how it plays out.
Straight ahead, we asked Jensen Lewis our direct question of the week presented by Northeast Factory Direct. And you guys don't want to miss this one. More of the Big Play Cleveland Show right after this.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We've got Jensen Lewis with us, bringing the heat as we do. We've got our Northeast Factory direct question of the week for you. We do need to get a prediction out of you. Who wins the series and in how many games?
All right, Gab, I keep my fingers crossed. I do feel like it goes the distance. And, maybe we exercise the demons and go into Yankee Stadium in game 7 and we pull this thing off.
Wow.
But I think they've got as great a chance as even the Detroit Tigers would have. But I think ours is a bit better, knowing where our strengths lie with how resilient this group has been. They relish the opportunity to be the underdog. They will be overlooked in this series a lot. So, hey, let's hope this is another magical run just like it was in 2016.
Hey, Jensen, with the Guardians on the run that they have been on, what is your phone like? Do you hear from people you haven't heard from in years when all of a sudden the Guardians are going deep in the playoffs?
After the Lane Thomas Grand Slam, Chris, I think I heard from all 4 corners of the United States and even some people from Canada. So I think it was one of those situations where this team has captivated really a fan base, not only locally, as we well know, but just all over the country. And Chris, I love what you put out there with the map of the literal world.
Yeah.
There is only one spot in the entire world that is going to be rooting for the Yankees in this series. The rest of the world is with Cleveland, and that's right where we want to be.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jensen, for popping on with us. It's been an incredible baseball season with you. We'll be out at the Lakewood Truck Park every single game throughout the American League Championship Series. So you could come catch us live 2 hours pregame before. Jensen, I appreciate it a bunch.
You bet.
Alrighty, guys. Always fun with Jensen Lewis. And the Guards are on a magical ride right now. They really have an opportunity to capture the fun and capture the hearts of this city like they did in the 90s, especially with our Browns on such a slide, Chris.
The energy's back, right? This does feel like the mid-90s. You've got the sluggers on this team. You've got the bullpen on this team. And you've got the young manager on this team who I think can put it all together. It's just a magical ride. Enjoy it right now. Let's go out. Let's beat those Yankees, and let's keep it going.
Speaking of the young manager, I've got a short little package for you from our Cruise in Cleveland segment with Stephen Kwan, who has some really great things to say about Stephen Vogt. Let's check it out.
How about Steven Vogt? Because, you know, he's got such great rapport with everybody. We love what he's done so far.
This is the first of many. I'm so proud of this group. We still got work to do. Let's freaking go!
I mean, I'm sure as people know, like, he was in our scouting report 2 years ago. We were playing the A's, and he's behind the plate. And at least personally for me, I've been a huge fan of him because he had his great years in Oakland. I live really close there. But he's been awesome. You know, I think a big thing with new managers is you're afraid that they'll stick their hands in places they don't. You know, they'll just be like a puppet in the front office, whatever kind of myths are that float around. And I mean, at least from my personal experience, like, Vogt's been awesome. Tremendous feel. He's one of the guys. He just talks smack with everybody. He trusts the players too. He'll let us play the game. He'll vouch for us whenever things don't go maybe the way we want it to. He's just been super supportive, and we're obviously rolling right now, and I think he's been a big part of that.
I love these guys.
Thanks for watching the Big Play Cleveland Show. We'll be back next week. Check us out. Go Guards.